Hey there, I'm Nina with sharingajourney.com, and today I want to talk about small acts of kindness, things that we can do to share love with one another, especially in situations when we can't visit and be with our friends in the way that we had been maybe before. So I thought we could just get started. Number one, send a letter snail mail. I absolutely adore getting letters, especially when they have beautiful little stickers on them and fun things inside. There is nothing more exciting than getting a letter, especially these days. People don't tend to send out letters. So if you want to touch a loved one and you can't be with them, think about sending them a letter. Number two, make a small scrapbook or some sort of thing. This one is just simply made out of paper. And what I did was I made this for my father when he was in the nursing home. I took pictures of his home and took pictures of times that we were together, that he was having a good time. I simply made scrapbook pages, ran them off as copies, and then put them in an envelope and sent them to him. He loved it. It was a way to touch him. It was a way for us to keep in touch and to give him a smile and let him know that we were thinking about him. We, at the time, lived in Florida. He was in Michigan, so we didn't get to see him very often. And I was always looking for ways of being able to send him love so that he would know that we cared when we couldn't see him all the time. The next thing that we can do as a small act of kindness, especially for our neighbors and potentially relatives that are shut-ins, is to offer to do a little bit of grocery shopping for them. Or if we find that we have enough of something like toilet paper maybe to drop off a small care package onto the porch of a neighbor or someone that you know can't get out. I've done this before when my friends have been ill, just stop by and ring the doorbell and say, here's dinner. These days we probably would want to leave it on the doorstep. We'd want to be conscious of, making sure that everything was sanitary. It may be easier to, drop off a meal or drop off actual groceries. It depends on your neighbor and what their needs are. But just looking for little things that can be done to kind of make sure that the people around you who may not be able to get out can that you can do for them. Next up is that we also need to make sure that we care for ourselves. And this is something that I have to say I am terrible at. However, as I've gotten older, I've begun to see more and more importance to making sure that I take care of myself, especially now when our health is sort of at a premium. So some of the things that we're doing on a daily basis, as long as we can, is that we go out to a local park. We drive from our home, and this particular park is very rarely are there very many people there. It's a big walking trail. If we see one or two people on the trail at the same time we're on the trail, it's a lot. We're still doing social distancing, but it does get us outside and it does get us in the sunlight a little bit to develop some vitamin B and to kind of shake off the cobwebs and feel like you're out and about a little bit. So if you're living in an area where you can get out and walk a little bit in the fresh air, and it's allowed in your area, then be sure and take some time to do that. Now, one other thing that I found extremely valuable in my life is morning quiet time. And so I get up earlier than the rest of the family so that I can have that quiet time. And I do a 20-20-20 kind of routine, 20 minutes of meditation, 20 minutes of yoga and light exercise, and then 20 minutes of listening to some inspirational or reading something inspirational. And that I found really helps, kind of set my day right. You know, it doesn't ever guarantee that you're going to have perfect days every day. Nobody does. But I found that if I start with a solid kind of centered base, I do so much better than if I just, hit the ground running. And I certainly have had my share of doing that through the years. Now, another thing that is really kind of a good thing to do if you can do it, and this is really hard. I struggled with it, especially when my daughter was little. But even in the afternoon, I would look for a small pocket of time where I could just sit quietly somewhere, maybe read a book a little bit, maybe, sometimes I would just sit like out in the backyard for about 15 or 20 minutes by myself, just to sort of regroup, breathe a little bit, kind of shake off, kind of the stressful feelings of the day. And that kind of refreshed me enough to kind of get going on the next things like making dinner and doing those kind of things. And I guess the bottom line is that taking those little pockets of time for yourself are going to also help you sort of weather the storms. And these things I learned, like, before things happened, before these things happened, these days happened, I really started to become intentional about these practices in after or during the Great Recession. That was a period of time that was extremely stressful for me, and financially, emotionally, there was a lot going on. And I sort of carried the habits through the years because I found that they were so valuable. And that's the reason why I just really want to share them with you. But most of all, I really want to send out love and light and hope. And see you the next time.